There are 5 types of difficult personalities that you need to be aware of when it comes to your relationships and the people you need to watch out for. So in this video, I'm going to go into depth of what these personalities are and how your personality can be attracting some of the personality traits that we discussed. It's important to know that the quality of your relationships will impact the quality of your life. So you should be aware of these personalities and how they can impact you in your life. The number one personality that you need to be aware of is people who never take responsibility for their own actions. This personality is really challenging when it comes to dealing with your relationships. People who don't take responsibility for their actions, they often look for other people and other things to blame or to use as an excuse for why they do what they do. And the fact that they don't take responsibility, this can often lead them into relationships with people who excuse their behavior because they're used to not taking ownership of what they've done. And so they often get into relationships with other people who may make excuses for why they do what they do. You want to be aware of this personality. This is not a healthy way to engage in relationships. So, people who don't take responsibility for what they do, they also fail to apologize. They fail to be truthful and honest with what they're doing and why they're doing it. If you're engaged in relationships with people like this, you really need to have certain boundaries in place. And depending on the relationship, whether it's a close family member, partner, a spouse, or someone that you are really close to and care about, you really want to be aware of this personality and how you can create healthy boundaries so that you can continue to have a relationship with this person because they're important to you, but you also know how to protect yourself from situations that may not be healthy. Now, if you're dealing with people with this personality that you work with, you may not care as much of whether or not, they have this issue because you may not work with them as often. You may be able to get around some of the things that they're doing and have different boundaries in place in your work setting. This is something you really need to address. Again, if this is a relationship that's important to you, a boundary that you can implement is being upfront and honest with how you're feeling, how it impacts you when they don't take responsibility, and how you can begin to take action and prevent this from occurring again in the relationship. So, the number 2 personality that you want to be aware of is the professional victims. These are people who are always feeling victimized. No matter what the circumstance is, they feel victimized in the situation, and they're professional victims and always feeling that other people are after them, are doing them wrong. These people are always emotional. They feel that, again, everyone is doing them wrong, things never working out for them. They're always feeling like they're fighting up against something. They're crying. They're, feeling bad about life and situations. And you may fall into some of this and begin to pity them, begin to feel sorry for them, begin to feel like even when they're not being victimized, they are the victim because they wear that personality. So it's so important that you have awareness, that you are aware of what's going on. And you don't always have to address them and say, hey, you're being a victim in this. You really shouldn't, always allow yourself to feel victimized. Sometimes it's not your place to even address it, depending on the relationship and how close the relationship is to you. You do want to be sure to protect yourself so that they don't begin to see you as the villain or paint a picture of you being the villain and them being the victim and begin to create a story of you victimizing them. So you want to just be careful with people like this. Again, if this is a loved one you really care about, you may want to just them from a distance. You want to, Even if you're around them and you spend time with them, you want to limit some of that time and space because you don't want to set yourself up to be in a situation where things can get out of hand. The third most difficult personality, people who refuse to apologize. Now, it's kind of like the first personality, but again, they're not taking ownership or responsibility. And so they feel that they have no reason to apologize. They may have this pride or arrogance about themselves where they feel like, I'm above this, I don't have to apologize, meet me where I am, or get over it, let it go. They just want to move on. They do things and they know that they're wrong and they don't apologize. Now, this often is very common in some parent-child relationships where the parent feels like they're above the child, and even when the parent is wrong in disciplining the child, they may feel like I'm above apologizing to my child or whatever. This is a personality that you really want to be aware of, and you really want to protect yourself from being hurt in a personality like this. Because these are people who feel too good to say that they're sorry, to say that they're wrong. And that can be an issue. That can create a lot of division in relationships. That can create trust issues in relationships and just a lack of authenticity. So it's so important that if you understand this person is not apologizing, this person is not taking ownership, how can I protect myself in this situation? You can learn how to create closure for yourself, even if you don't get closure from that person or an apology from that person. You can allow yourself to receive closure by choosing to heal and to create healthier boundaries when it comes to moving forward in relationships like this, if you decide to continue in a relationship like this. But again, you have to analyze how important is this relationship and how much do you want to work on this relationship. Is this person willing to work on some of the things? If this is a really close relationship, how much is this personality impacting you or your mental health or your stress levels? You need to be able to observe and analyze, is it worth you continuing in a relationship like this? Because it's not for everyone, and everyone may not desire to continue in something like this. So it may not be for you, and you may not feel that it's necessary to continue in a relationship like that. But it depends on where you are, where you see yourself going in your life. Again, the quality of your relationships will impact the quality of your life. So if you don't see your future um, thriving in continuing in a relationship, a close relationship with someone who does not take ownership or responsibility for their actions, someone who chooses not to apologize. These are things, if they're going to continue to impact you, if this is something you're willing to continue in your future, then that's something you have to determine within yourself. But I would say, if you want a healthier, happier life, you want to protect your peace and you want to create healthy boundaries to eliminate dealing with these type of personalities in your relationship. Now, I want to share a quote from my book, The Love Habit, which is now available for pre-order. I'm super excited to share. Here's the quote. To be in healthy relationships, whether with a friend, at work, or in a romantic partnership, we must first start with the relationship we have with ourselves. And that's from my book, The Love Habit, which is now available for pre-order. You know, the relationship you have with yourself will impact all of the relationships you have with other people. You know, you got to ask yourself, are you presently aware of how you feel? Are you aware of your habits? Do you study yourself? Which is really something that got me into the work that I do now. I really began to develop this passion for studying myself, for understanding why I do what I do. Why am I triggered in certain ways? Where are these emotions coming from? The more you can learn yourself, the more you can learn what relationships are best for you. And then the more you can learn how to create healthy boundaries to protect yourself in your relationship. Now, this fourth personality trait is one that I really want to emphasize. You want to try your best to stay away from completely. Now, this is passive aggressive people who try to get at you in a sneaky, indirect way. Now, these people are very sneaky. They do things to you intentionally to get to you, to push your buttons, but then they act like, what? I didn't do any. What happened? Then they act clueless as if they didn't do anything wrong. These are people that play mind games, and they often can cause you to question your reality, or am I not saying something that is real? And then you wonder, like, I know this is what happened, but they're saying that. So you want to be aware of this personality. You want to try your best to stay away from people with this personality trait and really keep your distance and really have your boundaries when it comes to people like this. Hopefully, your close relationships don't include people with this personality trait. This personality trait can be very toxic, and again, it can cause you mental stress because the person do things on purpose to get at you, to make you mad. You know, um, I remember years ago, uh, one of my friend, well, we were like friends, but we were also family. So a close family member, I'll say that. And we were close years ago. And she invited me to her wedding, and she placed me and my husband at a table with strangers. Now, we were really, really close at one point in our life, and we're family. And my family, my mother and sisters, and everybody was at the wedding. She specifically, intentionally placed me in a back room at a table full of people I didn't even know. And I knew it was done intentionally because her and I were not as close as we once were. And something, I was just boiling. I was just like, I couldn't believe that she had did that to me. And I mean, this person was almost like a best friend and a family member. And I'm like, really? So I was just shocked that she did that. And part of me wanted to confront her and say, why would you do that? Why would you place me, why would you? But a big part of me said, no, you're beyond that. Because I knew where we were. I knew we wasn't in that type of relationship anymore. We wasn't like that anymore. She didn't owe me anything. And so I made the decision to not address it, but it was very passive aggressive. She did that. And there was other situations that I saw a pattern of the passive aggressive behavior. And in that situation was that as much as you may think people are going to change, let's say you have some distance, you don't talk to them for a while, and you're like, well, maybe they changed. Mostly they didn't. And you got to learn to move forward and not get caught up in certain relationships and people and some of their behaviors that they do to intentionally get to you. And you have to just go forward. So I don't know, maybe she'll watch this video and she'll know who I'm talking to. Maybe not. But I just wanted to share that with you guys just as an example of how passive aggressive things can happen, where they do things in a sneaky way to get to you without being upfront with. Fifth personality that you want to be aware of, you want to watch out for, is the personality of people who want you to read their without telling you what's really going on. That's a big issue. This personality is a lack of communication. They're not really communicating their feelings, what's going on, what they're dealing with, but they expect you to just know what I would need or what's going on with me, when that's not realistic. Clear communication is very important to maintaining a healthy relationship. So if you're in a relationship with someone who just want to read your mind, that they just want you to read their mind, you want to just be upfront with them and let them know, listen, I cannot read your mind. Can you please communicate what you mean about this? What are you saying? Just have clear, open communication. This is so important when it comes to having healthy relationships. So you want to just be upfront with them and let them know, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let me know, especially if this is a close relationship and you want to continue to grow and build on this relationship. Have the conversations, have good communication, and put it out there and let them know they're important to you, and it's important for you to hear clearly from them what you are desiring. So I'm sharing the last 4 difficult personality traits in the part 2 of this video. So I want to encourage you to check that one out as well. I want to hear from you. Which personality can you relate to the most? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear if you struggle with any of these difficult personalities. Also, click the link in the description to go ahead and pre-order your copy of The Love Habit. I would love for you to be a of my book club reading and join us in this. I'm super excited to grow. And for more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy this, click like and share this video with someone who would love to hear it.